You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show on this beautiful 10th day of the month of October. Thank you for being with us here on 702. I hope you're wrapping up your week on a good note. I'm not sure I'm wrapping up mine on a good note. So I went on a beautiful run this morning by the promenade here in Cape Town. I'm broadcasting from our Cape Town studios this morning. And I realized 3 kilometers into my run that an injury I suffered this past Sunday on my Achilles tendon hasn't healed, even though we worked on it with my biokineticist, Tato, on Tuesday. This is happening 6 days before the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. No runner wants to experience this so close to the marathon. So if you are training for the Cape Town Marathon, as you are tapering, please take it easy out there. Avoid injuries, because we're getting closer and closer to the marathon. But all the best with the last few days of training. I'm hopeful, very much hopeful, that I'll be back on the road in a few days. What are you grateful for this week? It's Friday, and every Friday we share what we are grateful for on the 702 open line. So if there's something that happened this week that put a smile on your face, that reminded you of how blessed you are, please share it with us. We want to celebrate with you. 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. What do you make of what happened yesterday? What a busy day. Hey, it was raining raids yesterday. The police visited the suspended Deputy Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya's house and seized his gadgets. And he wasn't pleased. Listen to what he said yesterday, just as the police were leaving his house.
I'm not angry, I'm hurt. I feel like Joseph, whose brothers actually threw him in the pit. And they ended up selling him, because I've been working with my colleagues and we've been working very well. But for my colleagues to turn on me the way they turned on me, my colleagues betrayed me.
Yeah. He says he feels betrayed by his colleagues. But what if he has a case to answer? I mean, what were the police supposed to do? Just because you worked with them, what? They're supposed to not agree to come and do a raid at your house? I mean, I get where he may want to raise issues with the fairness or lack thereof with which the police officers conducted themselves. But imagine me, like, I get into trouble for some reason, and there's a reason, for people to, I don't know, a reason for me to be investigated. Let's use that analogy or argument. And then Bongani or Mendy says something about the scandal that I'm involved in, and I say, I feel betrayed. If there's reason for them to talk about it because it's of great concern, why must I feel betrayed? They're just doing their job. And I think even in this case, the police officers were simply just doing their job. Well, at least I hope so. That's what Shadrack Sibiya said yesterday. The chief of staff for the suspended, or if you want to call it special leave taker, Senzo Mkunu, the police minister, his chief of staff is Cedric Nkabinde. He also briefed the media yesterday, claiming that the police went to his flat and assaulted his brother, but he wasn't at the house. But he complained yesterday about how the police conducted themselves. He held a briefing and spoke to the media in Sandton yesterday.
The merits of the case or merits of allegations, what I can say, we are ready and we are eager to go and give our side of the story. And the picture will be different altogether, because the minister have done nothing wrong. He's never committed any crime, neither myself. I've never committed any crime. Whatever I did in that office, I did it as a chief of staff in my tower of duty without any motive behind. We are going to have any evidence to prove that the picture is going to totally different with what is being presented there. And I'm not even surprised that now they are busy with session seizures. So it means that media briefing was prematurely. They were supposed to gather their evidence and come with their concrete evidence against us. Now they are busy with witch hunt and fishing because they are now desperate. Thank you.
That's what he said yesterday. The SIU also went to attach the assets of Hangwani Maumela, the businessman who's alleged to be part of a syndicate that looted about 2 billion rand from Tembisa Hospital. Did you see those Lamborghinis? Did you see that house? I mean, these people have no shame. Well done to the SIU for hitting these people where it matters the most, their pockets. But the thing is, many of these guys, if found guilty, many of them have probably stolen so much money that what we are seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. They are not worried at all. They have stolen so much that what you see being attached is nothing. I mean, for someone to afford and buy a 70 million rand property, for someone to even have homes that are close to each other and just own them, like for someone to buy vehicles and leave them at a car dealership only to use them when they need them. These people have probably stolen so much that what's being attached is nothing close to the assets that they own. So we are shocked, but they are probably just chilled and thinking, laughing at us. Because we're taking probably what's obvious. Okay, offshore accounts. Do you think they don't have offshore accounts? Yo, kuningi in Mzansi, I tell you. By the way, speaking of those, these accused businessmen, the former police minister who has been accused of being linked to these business people, Bheki Cele, made his first public appearance yesterday at the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa's memorial service, and he was so angry with you, South Africans. Take a listen.
Nathi Mthethwa.
No stage ungahlekisa ngokufa noma ngabe fe isitha sakhe singakanani. At least uyalinda imizuzwana ethile ubadedele bakhala usungabuya ke ngelinye ilanga uzothi wafa nemali yami njalo. But I'm telling you, you just sit there and you say, these South Africans are mad. Bafundisi, ngiyanibuza ukuthi angikwazi nikhuphuke lento abe ngenitshela uThixo enze lento ayenze eSodoma naseGomora. I wouldn't mind. Enze lento ayenze eSodoma naseGomora. Because in Sodoma neGomora manje. South Africans ni Sodoma ne Gomorrah. Anina inhliziyo nanembeza ni nunu.
Yo, nenzeni South Africans? Nenzeni? Being shouted at like that from Bheki Cele. Okay. Something else that's important to note, the Social Development Minister Sisito Lashe and the DG were in Parliament yesterday to account for the millions that they spent on a trip to New York for department officials who were attending a conference. They were also asked about that 22-year-old that was appointed as chief of staff who didn't have the qualifications nor the experience for the job. And here's what the minister said about that.
On the appointment of support staff in the ministry, Honorable Chairman and members, the appointment of ministry support staff is guided by the Guide to Members of the Executive, commonly referred to as the Ministerial Handbook. Given the administrative nature of this process, it was delegated to the Chief of Staff, who works jointly with Human Resource in the department. At the time, Honorable Chair, I had no reason to suspect that the then Chief of Staff would betray my trust and undermine the recruitment and selection of ministry support staff. It has since been established that the appointment of Ms. Lesedi Mabileja as a personal assistant to the minister was found to be irregular. A preliminary investigation revealed misrepresentation and dishonesty on her CV and serious procedural irregularities in her appointment. The review further established that Ms. Zanele Simmons, the then Chief of Staff, acted without authority in appointing Ms. Maumela by processing appointment to the Director General against advice from the Human Capital Management and knowingly falsify a CV submitted in favor of Ms. Maumela. When this matter was brought to my attention, I directed the accounting officer to ensure that the allegations are attended to with the necessary urgency and thoroughness. Given the serious nature of this allegation and within the provision of the law, the personal assistant, Ms. Maumela, and the then Chief of Staff, Ms. Zanele Simmons, were placed on precautionary suspension with immediate effect.
So there were so many lies that were told during that portfolio committee meeting. It actually just upsets me, because what's the point of these members of parliament if they're not going to be asking tough questions to these ministers and holding them accountable? I mean, the minister keeps on referring to this 22-year-old as the personal assistant. She was appointed initially as a personal assistant and then promoted to be a chief of staff. But the minister deliberately keeps saying, oh, the personal assistant was also removed. She wasn't the personal assistant at the point of this thing being exposed. And they lie and say, oh, we've asked the Public Service Commission to look at it. I asked the Public Service Commissioner, Professor Somatota Fikeni. I actually interviewed him on the SABC as soon as the story dropped. And I said, are you aware of this? He said, no, nobody has brought this to my attention. And I said, so can you investigate it at least? But now they want to tell Parliament that they are the ones that went to the Public Service Commission and asked, please investigate. And I wish there was a way that as South Africans you could put pressure for these people to do interviews, because they don't want to come on the show, because they don't want to answer the questions that we have. We've been chasing the minister, we've been chasing the Director General. They're running away from us. I've even said if they can do an interview at midnight, because they always say, oh, I'm in a meeting, I'm not available. I will wake up at midnight to record that interview if that's the only time you're available. But they're running away. We're being treated like children, and we are the ones that are paying these people's salaries. Give us a call on 011-883-0702. We're taking your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement, and happy Friday. That statement right there by General Sibiya, my colleagues betrayed me. That is where the rot starts. If you expect your colleagues to turn a blind eye when you are in the wrong, then it speaks volume. It's what you expect to happen all the time. I mean, now he's part of this big investigation that is going on, and they are in their right to do their duty. Let them seize the gadget if it's the gadget that needs to be seized. Let them arrest him if he needs to be arrested.
And they're just doing their job. So why do you feel betrayed by officers doing their job? Right? And of course, that's why I premised what I said with, if really there is a proper investigation here, because you also just never know with these people fighting each other. Remember, Dumisani Khumalo was arrested in a dramatic fashion at OR Tambo International Airport. Was he arrested because he has legitimate charges against him, or was he arrested because they were trying to remove him from the task team and the investigations against Ket Matlala? You just never know. Now you've got him who's going to claim the same thing, that, oh, they're coming to me now because they're trying to disrupt me from planning for my appearance at the Madlanga Commission and the parliamentary inquiry. But whatever it is, you cannot want to say that your colleagues have betrayed you when they are there to do their job, right? And if you want to challenge what they have done or what they've said about you, you can do that in court. But the issue here is they are doing their job. So what do you expect them to do? Hey, Ozzy, you're calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Wow.
Hey,
this issue of the top cops complaining that, they are scared of their life. It's actually ironic. It's funny at the same time, as much as it's a very serious matter. But I'm just thinking, all along South Africans have been complaining about the Inkabis, about people that have been killed. Now the same top cops that are supposed to protect are also scared, So isn't that bizarre and actually very concerning? I'm wondering when will the president express something to the nation, because this thing, we shouldn't take it lightly, because really there is really some serious issue. If the top cops are also concerned, what about us, the general public?
They're fighting each other. And what about us on the ground as South Africans? Mpo, you're calling us from Pretoria. What are your thoughts?
Hi, Clement. Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Clement, I think I'm going to echo the sentiments of the previous caller. I was going to say that as a nation we should really be embarrassed. We are a country that is engulfed by crime, and yet we have top cops now, mudslinging and pointing fingers at each other. And it just says to us, the top cops now are sitting, preparing their presentations and representations, and waiting to be called to commissions instead of actually fighting crime. So the people on the ground, the citizens on the ground, we are in big trouble. And I think my second point goes to the comments that were made by both guys, Sibiya and the chief of staff in the minister's office. The chief of staff in the minister's office, and you're going to find this laughable. He says cops can raid your house, put a gun, plant a gun, shoot you, kill you, and say that you were shooting at them. Sibiya says, no, I'm requesting that they do this thing in a proper manner. They mustn't come at 3 in the morning and then shoot me and kill me and then say, oh, I was reaching for a gun. I was running and reaching for a gun at night. So are these guys actually saying to us, this is what cops do when they do raid?
Yeah, right? Yeah. They probably don't realize it. I don't think they even realized the undertones of the statements that they made.
Clement, I don't understand why South Africans are not losing their marbles over this. We should be up in arms.
Yeah, Mpo, that's true. But up in arms and do what? What do we do? Do we march to the union buildings? What do we do? Do we take a walk? I just think at the end of the day, there are people that we've appointed into positions of power. And those are the people who appoint their commissioners that they are close to. That's why police ministers, look at the police ministers who come in. They always want their own commissioners. No police minister just wants to come and inherit any other commissioner. Many of them want their own commissioners. Why is that the case? Because it's all about who am I linked to? Who is it that is going to work with me? And maybe to an extent that they protect me too. So we've appointed people in power that have the authority to make these appointments. And they've made the appointments. And now we're watching this movie unfold. And the question is to you as a South African, what are you going to do about that? Are you just going to be seething and angry in your car, in your office, at home? What are you going to do about it? It's 25 after 9.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
27 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's go to Ishmael, who's calling from Morningside. Ishmael, good morning. Hi, Ishmael. Okay, Ishmael is still sleeping. We'll come back to him. Matebula, you are in Fleurhof. Hi.
Hi, Clement. Look, I want to... you see Begitele when he says we are Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
I want to ask this question. What did you do to us South Africans? What cases did you solve under... I'm speaking about the cases which are predominant. Senzo Meiwa, even now the case is still on. He never done anything. Then he has a guts to say we are Sodom and Gomorrah. He is Judas Iscariot. He is Judas Iscariot. To this point, he even part of the syndicates which are happening around under his watch.
Yeah, he was so angry yesterday, Matebula. He was so angry. But I think that anger is completely misplaced. But he was talking in the context, I think, of South Africans and what some other people have been saying on social media about Nathi Mthethwa. But it almost appeared as though his anger was emanating more from what has been revealed about him at the Madlanga Commission, but also at the parliamentary inquiry, because he's got some tough questions to answer, eh? He has got some tough questions to answer. Why was he sending bank accounts to a person who is now behind bars? Why was he busy meeting with, he met at the house of this chap yesterday? That mansion that was seized by the SIU, those Lamborghinis, the owner of those assets has a house in Zimbabwe too. News 24 reported that Bheki Cele was there to meet with Clement Manyathela at that house. How do you get connected to people like this? As a police minister, Nochal, or even a former police minister? Yeah, Matabula, I think he was more angry. It wasn't just about Nathi Mthethwa. Brian, you're calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Sure.
Just saying, if one document is corrupt on your computer, you simply delete it and you download a fresh one because the deleted item is corrupt. At the moment, it's costing us to have a commissioner driving all the way from Durban to come and arrest people in Johannesburg. And we've got people that are earning salaries in Johannesburg. We need to do something as South Africans.
What do we do, Brian?
We just have to remove the whole lot in Johannesburg that are earning salaries and download fresh ones. And when you download fresh ones, it means we are going to have people who know nothing about corruption.
Well, maybe that is the way to do it, Brian. All of us have an opportunity here to do something about this anger. Otherwise, we're just going to be upset. Remember with Edwin Sodi? Remember how angry we used to be with Edwin Sodi? What happened to that anger now? Edwin Sodi is continuing to just live his life like nothing happened. Now the anger is more direct. It was directed at Clement Manyathela. Now it's moved to Hangwani. Who's next? In 6 years' time, is Hangwani going to live his life like nothing happened? Clement Manyathela, is he going to be released on bail at some point and then live his life like nothing happened? And then we move on to the next businessman who's found to be involved or implicated in corruption and irregularities. As an individual, what are you going to do about your anger? If you're so disgusted by these individuals, what are you going to do about it? Because these individuals have the protection of people that are in higher offices. I've given you an example. Go watch when Edwin Sodi was celebrating, was it his 50th or 40th, whatever. Look who was at that dinner. Look who was at that dinner from the ANC. Check who is linked to these people in the top echelons of the African National Congress. But they'll be holding press briefings and telling you, corruption is bad. We don't associate with people. Oh, sure. It's 9:32.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. It's the 702 open line, and we're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Let's start with your WhatsApps, in fact, and then I'll come to your calls.
Good morning, Clement. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Clement, I just want to touch base on what the general said yesterday when he said that the cops, they mustn't come and arrest him at 3 a.m. because they will be planting the gun and then shooting him, saying that it was for self-defense. I think the general has exposed the modus operandi he's been doing all along. This is what he's been doing all along, and then now he's exposing it himself. I wish the cops, they can come and arrest him at 3 a.m. and feel the taste of his own medicine. Thank you. This is Jacob from Joburg South. Keep well, Bye-bye.
Clement, the house we saw on TV yesterday of Hangwani Maumela something, that guy. I believe it's a 15-bedroomed house. 15. Hey? I think what the law must do, they must freeze everything. Everything. Now, the problem is, maybe these guys have got money offshore. They've got offshore accounts. How can they freeze them as well? How can the SIU freeze their offshore accounts as well? Is it possible? Wow. South Africa is a movie. Serious. Tarua Diplus.
Hey, good morning, Clement. You know, I'm not shocked by the statement made by the Chief of Staff of Police. Remember, there was a video on social media that was actually trending of a guy who's, driving a private car, that the police actually planted drugs in his car because, they wanted, the brand envelope. I mean, I'm not surprised. We should be very upset. Like right now, I'm going to be super, super concerned if somebody actually stopped me or come into my house as a police person just to check, whatever that is happening. Like, it's just too scary.
Morning, Clem. Once you hear people started to quote the Bible verses and all whatever is happening on the Bible script, I must know they've got something to answer. He knows exactly very well that he did something wrong. So as General Mkhwana said, we're going to scratch until we find the gold. You can see now his colleagues, they find the gold on him. So that's why I started to say, no, they betray him. They never betrayed him. You've got something to answer. Thanks, Foster.
Yeah, and look, let's see. I do hope that the gadgets are seized because they do have a case. Because you also don't want a situation where people are just going to come and take gadgets of someone without any valid reason or without any specific strong case. Because again, people are fighting each other here. Like, with Dumisani Kumalo, the same allegations that Abu Ntantlam Khwanazi and Fanima Samula are making, that, they arrested Dumisani and other cops unfairly to try and intimidate them and move them from some investigations. That's exactly what these other guys are going to argue. They're going to argue, you're also coming to take our gadgets to intimidate us. They're fighting each other, and you and I are suffering as the grass. But you're right. Normally, when people start quoting these verses, or they start being poetic, you must know that something is up. Something is up. Isaac, you're calling us from Centurion. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Hey, Tzara, Shosho.
Sharp. I wanted to talk about the issue of Minister of Social Development.
Yes, please.
The accounting officer approves for all appointments. Where was their HR saying, chances are that the HR has advised that this person doesn't qualify to be here. But why did the DG approve? Because the DG, he is the accounting officer and approves each and every appointment of the department. The DG must be the one who must be suspended or fired.
And you know what's happening, Isaac? The minister seems to have a close relationship with the DG. So it looks like she's trying to protect the DG. Because in the clip I played, you can hear she keeps saying the former chief of staff is the one who provided false information and did the appointments irregularly. The chief of staff is the accounting officer. Even when there was a warning from HR, it doesn't just go to the chief of staff. The DG has to account, but the minister seemingly wants to protect the DG because the minute she goes against the DG is going to reveal probably her own complicity.
Yes, minister doesn't appoint officials in ministry. I worked in ministry. I know. We send our the minister will say, here are the CVs. Then the HR will look at them if they qualify for DG's approval. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they fired Zanele and all those people, because Zanele didn't identify who must work in ministry. But I think they're just throwing Zanele under the bus. But the DG must be accountable.
Yeah, the Zanele is taking them to court. I spoke to Zanele's lawyer, I think on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So, and Isaac, I promise you, we're going to stay on the story. The DG doesn't want to do an interview with us. He's running away. I'm going to keep on pushing him. We're not going to stop. Yeah, because this is a story that they're hoping is going to die. We're not going to let it die. We're not going to be treated like little stupid children. When we are paying monies, We're paying these people salaries. What are they doing? They go appoint people who don't even qualify for positions. And when we need to hold them accountable, they run around and they tell you I'm in a meeting, I'm not able to speak. When every time we want an interview, I'm in a meeting, I can't speak. It's ridiculous. You owe it to South Africans to avail yourself to be held accountable. And we're not going to stop. Sindile, you're calling us from Kagiso. Good morning.
Hey, Clement, how are you?
Hey, Tada.
Clement, we always say South Africa is a movie. For me, it's a soap. You know this movie I saw yesterday, I was not impressed because I saw it before. With Edwin Sodi, there was this drama. So for me, it's a soap with seasons. But what concerns me most is that this person, somehow, this Hangwani guy, is connected with Ramaphosa. Whether Ramaphosa denies it, because last time he said he didn't have close ties with him. We should look at these presidents of ours. Let's start there from the head. These relationships that they have with these people who are connected with government, somehow they are using their names or they are complicit themselves. Look at Paul Mashatile with this Lotto thing and wife and whatever. This one, his aunt is Cyril Ramaphosa previous wife. So we should look at things like that. We should not be impressed and go to the radio and start calling and getting excited because it's in the news, Lamborghinis and all. We've seen it before. Where's Sodi now? Where is he? Because
he's chilling and enjoying his millions.
Exactly. That's why I say it's a soap, because it's going to go to another season with somebody else and watch this movie again.
I mean, it's shocking. Cindy, there was an asset in Cape Town, if I remember correctly, a house of Sodi that I think the SIU or the Asset Forfeiture Unit wanted to attach or was about to attach. And you know who stayed at that house? Our own deputy president. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, are we okay? Are we accepting that just like that? That the current deputy president has went and stayed at a house of a man who has been accused and implicated in unfathomable irregularities in how he's attained his tenders. And that's okay because but I've got friends. I'm also allowed to have friends.
It seems like we are. It seems like we are accepting this because it's continuing. And Paul Mashatile is worse. It's continuing like nothing has happened, and nobody is calling them to account. They are not being.
His advisor was at Edwin Sodi's whatever dinner that was being held there, where Abu Maumela and Abu Ket Matlala were there. And then now you've got Maumela, who is the minister, who's the president's nephew from the first marriage. The president has already said, I don't know this person. And yes, sometimes there are people who will, who will claim and mention people's names. I mean, imagine going and getting a tender and you telling people the president is my uncle or whatever, and you show them pictures. People will believe you. We don't know, but we need to dig deeper. We need to dig deeper. Is it true that the president really doesn't know this chap? Has he used the name of the president? Jeff Wicks from News 24 has written an incredible book. You must go check it out, where he writes about the president's former advisor, Bechani Chauke, and the relationship that he says in the book has existed between the two. You need to go read that and make up your mind. But it's just crazy that these people are not just operating as mere business people. They're not. There's no way that you can loot 2 billion rand from a hospital that is in need of such critical medical equipment. 2 billion rand? Without you using the name of someone higher up. Clearly, it's been a path that's been cleared out for you, because you must have some form of protection. You must have people that are somehow up in authority, whose names are so powerful that the doors just get open for you so easily, so you can loot 2 billion rand from a hospital. These people are filthy. They're so greedy.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Clement here. This man, the minister's chief of staff, said something you don't seem to have picked up. He says he knows how the police operate. They would go to a place and plant a gun, kill somebody, and claim that person has been trying to shoot at the police. Now we should be asking ourselves, how many innocent people have been killed that way by the police who planted guns in front of them and claimed the people were shooting at them?
Yeah, but listen, remember there was a listener who said that already. We picked that up. That's why I said in the beginning of the show that I actually don't think Cedric actually realizes the undertone of that message, what that is actually revealing to us. In fact, if you listen to that press briefing, the journalist did ask, Tabiso Goba from EWN did ask that, what you are saying is actually quite problematic. You're making a serious allegation. Have you ever reported any of this to the police? And he was talking from his experience as someone who worked for IPID, because this is, I suppose, what IPID used to pick up as a modus operandi within the SAPS, because they are the ones that were investigating police officers.
You know, Clement, what if there are two trains of thought here type thing, right? So when he says that, they betrayed him, okay? And we say, no, they were just doing their job, like they're good people, What if they were all in cahoots, okay, and they needed a fall guy, and that's how they betrayed him? Just food for thought. Gareth, Alberton.
Gareth, that's possible. That's possible. Like, you just never know. When people are fighting each other, they are willing to go to any length. You just never know. I am just making a general statement that if he has evidence that these people are making him the fall guy, then that's the evidence that he must produce. But he can't just make a blanket statement like, oh, these people are betraying me, just because police officers came and confiscated gadgets. I mean, if they had a warrant of arrest, if they've done things lawfully, you can't decry that you're being betrayed. Like, unless you've got evidence to produce that suggests that these people are making you the fall guy and they didn't follow the law, then you can question why they're doing that. But if they've followed the law, if they had a warrant of arrest, why is the matter of betrayal even arising? They must do their job as police officers. And if they're not doing their job and they're fighting factional battles, that must also be exposed so that that's attended to.
Hi, Clement. Shadrack Sibiya mustn't forget what did he do to Advocate Tefo. He was arrested in court, live on TV. What about his kids watching that? Now the wheel has turned. He doesn't like it. Please, we must not be soft on this guy. He has bullied many other people.
Hey, boy, Shadrack. How can he feel betrayed and compare himself to Joseph? Joseph didn't do anything wrong. He was looting the money.
Well, we don't know that he was looting the money, right? We don't know that. In fact, what General Mkhwanazi said in Parliament is that they're still trying to figure out if there was either, because I think there was a member of Parliament who asked and said, is Shadrack Sibiya corrupt from what you've looked at? And Mkhwanazi said, well, we're still looking. They're still trying to find a way to see if there's ever been any financial link of sorts. So for now, we don't know if he's looted any money. Anything is possible, though. Let's wait and see what the charges the police are going to put before him. And hopefully that's going to be soon. In fact, there were rumors that he was going to be arrested yesterday, but he wasn't. In fact, he said even in a press briefing that outside his house that I've been waiting for them. I was told I was going to be arrested and he wasn't arrested. Maybe they don't have a strong case yet, but let's wait and see. Maybe they will somehow strengthen their case and go after him, and we'll know the kind of charges that he faces. Tando, you're calling us from Joburg. You want to talk about the Social Development Minister?
Hi, Clement. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Hi to your listeners as well. Thank you for taking my call. I am so angry and so hurt about what is happening at social development. Yesterday I was listening to the Portfolio Committee comments and the minister responding to the questions. She's a mother and she just lied. She just lied point blank. And what makes me angry is the portfolio committee members not asking relevant questions, good questions.
Yeah.
You know, we have a DG in that department. The DG was given a 12-month contract, but the minister gave the DG 5 years contract. No one is questioning that thing. No one is questioning that move, because the DG was given 12 months, and the HR flagged that, but no one questioned that. And this poor lady, Zanele Simmons, now she has to take the fall for the minister and her advisor.
Yeah,
and the minister
and she's
and her
not going to do
advisor.
that.
And in South Africa, everyone is given a chance to come and state their case. She has been suspended, and then 2 days later, she gets fired. Nobody questions. She doesn't even give a chance to come and state her case. All is well for a 22-year-old. Because in all honesty, the 22-year-old is squeezes a minister. Minister is fighting for squeezes a high.
Listen, Tando will stay on the story. In fact, I do want to invite the chair of the Committee for Social Development. I spoke to her on Monday. I want to bring her back on because I want to understand why were they not asking the key questions you and I are asking. Why did they not ask critical questions for the minister? Were they even prepared for the minister's presentation in Parliament? Because the questions you and I have are the questions they should have asked the minister. So I want to ask the chair of the committee, why are they not bringing in the guys who used to be at the department? Summon them so they can come give you another story. You can't just take the story of the minister and the DG. Something is fishy here, and we can't allow a situation where some members of parliament are going to protect the minister because she's a comrade. We can't allow that. There's something here that's fishy that's happening, and we need to stay very close to it. And I'm going to keep pushing the DG. I'm going to keep pushing the minister, and I'm going to keep pushing the chair of the committee to ensure that there's accountability, especially when these people don't want to come and account to us. Thanks for your call, Tando, in Joburg. It's 2 minutes before 10.
Clement is on X.
At The Real Clement M.
Hi.
Right.
I'm really concerned. We are starting at the end with the Sodis, Maumelas, and the cats. Why don't we start where it started? Who authorized? Someone signed for the 2 million and it wasn't signed overnight. There are internal, external auditors. They have lawyers. Where are those people? Those are the people who should be in jail by now. These are the last people. So most of the people should be in jail. But now we're only concentrating on these thieves. And what made me cry, seeing so many Lamborghinis, I'm just thinking one Lamborghini would paint so many hospitals and bypass, even if it's old age homes or hospices, from that money he stole. I wish him all the bad luck. Sis, yeah.
I thought you were about to say, I wish him all the best. Ish. Yeah, I get the frustration. I really do. It really does get frustrating. It really does. I mean, someone called me yesterday and said, did you see, someone older in my family was like, did you see that, how flat that car is? Did you see why is that car so flat? Talking about the Lamborghinis that were being attached by the SIU. And these are the elders who have never even seen cars like that. They are surprised in the news. They're seeing these flat cars. And when I explain, you know how expensive that car is, they just get shocked. So it's irritating. And that's why on Wednesday this week, we spoke about the bid adjudicating committees and how do tenders get signed off. And you're right, Mama. We need to go back to the people who also authorized and signed off on these tenders, not just the business people. Because I bet you, if you look closely, some of those benefited something. It's a minute after 10.